Hello there and welcome to Conversations with Defenders. I am Rita Kanya and we are starting off our 6-part series of our particular episodes that are going to be taking a look at the 16 Days of Activism campaign. And we're here at Defend Defenders. The theme is Her Fight, Our Rights. And for our very first episode, we are honored to have the privilege, of having our Executive Director of Defend Defenders, Mr. Hassan Shire. You are most welcome to Conversations with Defenders.
Thank you, Rita. And a great pleasure to appear on this special occasions interview.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hassan,
yeah.
In between I may stop using the Mr., but we do know with the work that Defend Defenders does, at the very heart of it is the woman human rights defender. Tell us how she became the heart of Defend Defenders.
You see, from word go on, when we were conducting the research on the gaps of protection of capacities, of feasibility of human rights defenders in the continent, we found very particular challenge women human rights defenders are facing on the top of general challenges where both men and women and youth are facing on a daily basis. From where to go, we saw women human rights defenders. They may not recognize themselves as part and parcel of wider movement of human rights defenders. Women human rights defenders in a community where they live, from her home up to the authority, like the police stations and others, they may not recognize her presence as a full-fledged defender to raise issues related to her community. Women human rights defenders face, again, particular challenge when they are standing on a protest, right to protest spaces, particularly expression, assembly, and association. The repressions against them may be much more revealing and humiliating than their male counterpart. That's true. Again, women human rights defenders may not come up and seek protection because they are not alone. They have families. So the risk associated to go and jump into a plane and leave your home and your family is a very narrow. That's why, as I later will mention, we have to address all these challenges, how to overcome. Women wearing a trouser in Sudan, previous Sudan of al-Bashir, was barred to come to the court, a lawyer, and said that you cannot come with the trouser you are wearing. So it means, their style, their feminism, their voices are in certain countries criminalized even. Women cannot speak up. So with that legal repression, situations of armed conflict now, like in most of Ethiopia, in Sudan, in Somalia, where even negative forces are playing a dominant role in some area, women is totally banned to appear in public spaces. And so those are the, aware-on challenge where women human rights defenders are facing. So a programmatic idea must address those challenges.
And those challenges, like you mentioned, in some particular countries, it has changed for the positive, that there's a voice for them, they're able to speak up, but in some particular areas, it's getting worse. So let's talk about the context. From what you see, how has the fight evolved for the woman human rights defender?
You see, women human rights defenders and represent the constituents of women and girls. In countries where even it's advanced, there are still challenges associated with women's spaces. There are countries who have developed in terms of accommodating women, in taking affirmative action, having 50-50 in some situations of public space presence, of positions related to cabinet, to diplomatic representation, you name it.
Yes.
Parastatals or the government agencies, women more, even representing sometimes more of that. But the challenge is still associated with how we raise our children. You have to start a gender segregation at the kindergarten level, whereby the boys are being assigned what's supposed to be a girl's work, and girls will be assigned what's supposed to be a boy's work, in order for them to grow and appreciate that there's no gender role in the household, in the society.
Yes.
So as much as girl can do, also the boy can do it. And as much as boys can do, girls also can do it.
Yes.
Those countries, like, in Nordic countries, in Iceland, that's how the kindergarten is being played out. And those children, early stage, they learn there's no gender conformity of when it comes to the roles in the society.
Anyone can do
Anyone
anything.
can do everything.
Yes.
That's the starting point. Then, and I don't want to blame mothers, in our situations, it starts at home. I remember my mother never allowed me to go to the kitchen. She would say, "What are you doing here? This is, the maid or your female person, whether your sister, whether it's her, whether it's a maid, that's the role they have to do it. You wait there.
They'll
You are
bring
being
it to you.
served. You cannot even take the blades out." But I refused that. Yeah, so right on as a young age, I used to cook. I used to do my things. I used to clean utensils. All these things, you have to learn when you are very young.
Yes.
Yeah, and that also will give positive image on that. Then again, the violence against women. It's not confined to Africa or Latin America. It's very much prevalent in Europe and North America. Those violence, men beating up his partner, men sexually assaulting a female of his surroundings, either in a home space or in a. So it all happens everywhere, but the law have to be seen and have to commit itself dealing firmly those who are perpetuating on that.
Yes.
And quite often it doesn't happen.
Exactly.
Because women, usually quite often they don't come up.
No, they can't speak up for themselves,
Exactly.
or they're afraid.
Afraid.
Yes.
And now that's why when you see somebody who have been nearly appointed a public space, many women coming up, saying that you raped me, you did that to me, you did that. So you will wonder where you have been, because they didn't have a space to talk.
Yes.
They hushed, and they kept quiet for their dignity, for their life and all that. And they live on that humiliation, that violation, all for her lives.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the unfortunate part.
It's quite unfortunate. And when you talk about justice, there's also the part of the fight against gender-based violence also takes a look at the institutions.
Exactly.
Where these ladies come up and say, this is what's happening. Now, when we take a look at the justice system, would you say the intersectionality of it, when you say that how can WHRDs ensure these intersections are addressed in their fight?
Yeah, it's important. As I mentioned it, as I mentioned it, it's quite a multi-faceted fight for women's prominence and the rights of women against all these predators and all these bad things happening to them physically and emotionally have to be pushed back. It takes to a village even.
Yes.
Yeah, to assure even girls attend to school. So it takes beyond women's power itself. So male human rights defenders have to be part of women as a women human rights defender. They must join. And that intersectionality is when you decrease one, the other one also will go down. Because if there's no justice system which recognizes women as a full human in front of the court of justice, and where they are not accorded special even kind of spaces where they can testify without reprisal, it will be difficult for many women to come up and take positions and accuse their accusers.
Yes.
And then when 1, 2, 3 of them being doubted and humiliated, the rest of them, they may say that there's no justice here, let me not waste my time. And then as a result of that, these kind of violations will continue, unfortunately.
Yes.
Again, another aspect of this is that laws can be enacted by any society. Good laws. Suppose now the one against the FGM, which has been enacted, for example, in this sub-region. But in Sebi, in Uganda, and certain part of Kenya and also Somalia, you have to change societal attitudes toward this vice.
Yes.
The laws you cannot enforce society's attitude unless you change how they see these things. So by addressing, enacting good, robust laws and criminalizing those issues, it has not been able to eradicate them, largely because people fail to address why these communities need these things.
Yes.
Why it's bad for the girls, for their community. That thing must be convinced first. And then the law can be enforced when they are cooperating.
Yes.
Yeah. So the entire societal attitude toward certain violations have to be changed. In some societies, I haven't come across, but it has been alleged that beating women is a norm.
Yes.
And the community accepts. And the chiefs and even your own parents accept. You cannot cry to them. They will tell you, yeah, stay with your husband. What's the problem you have? So those also must change. Those norms. Violence does not have a space in a civilized society, and violence must be avoided. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And another area also would be the economic empowerment of a woman. That woman human rights defender, how does having her be economically empowered help her with her fight as a human rights defender?
See, the economy is a key pillar of who you are. So to start with, women must be entitled within the family as much as a boy entitles within the family. There's no 50, 100 things. And that, in order to achieve, girls, as I told you, at a young age, must be empowered. So that even when you say that, they will say, what? Why? What do you have more than me, my brother? So it means those shares must be there. And then, in some societies, even if you bring a stick to your new home, they advise that you break that stick. Woman has to come empty-handed. And she has to die empty-handed. And then when she gets, or the man dies, all the other properties, another person have to come from the family of the boy, of the man, and assume his responsibilities. These are outdated. It devastates the dignity of the family, of women, of mothers, of sisters. So those things must be resisted. Women must have entitlement of natural resources, the land, properties, economic empowerment. It has to start from grassroots level. And so that woman possesses something. Woman owns ownership. She assumes ownership, and she's a landlady, she's a landlord, she have crops growing for her in her name, she gets the income, she counts her money in a bank. So those things must be embedded within each and every family, irrespective of the communities they live with. And I think that's the minimum. Then again, it becomes the salaries, public space,
Yes.
private spaces. Women must be seen as leaders, as equally as men.
Yes.
So they must occupy the highest place, the highest position of any given societal unit, including the governmental structures. Because time and again it has been proven, men destroys most of the time, while women sustains life.
Yes.
And even the war-torn societies, it's the women who are still making heal societies, nurture them, nurture them in all the difficulties. And when calamities happen, 75% of that calamities happen on women and children. So it means every negative things, they disproportionately affect women. Every positive things, men takes the advantage.
Yes.
And all that calamities, again, people who are being called to talk about across the table are only men. Very unfortunate. So women may not have a place in the table because they are not part of the destructive forces. So those are the people who come together. But women have to be included in equal measure because they can impose sanity on these warring factions, and they can be the true leaders to rebuild collapsed societies.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. And we have seen it in the recent months. There's a wave that has been going on across the African continent where you see the young girls and women who are taking up the fight, the ones that we call the Gen Z. What does that tell you about the woman human rights defender that's coming in the next years?
You watch out that space because what you will see now is that the resilience and young people saying this is enough. Neither that old guy, however he fights for our rights, nor that old woman can liberate us. We have to take the matters in our own hands. So it's a beautiful space where girls and the boys also supporting, irrespective of clans and tribes and regions coming together and tackling common issue which affects them. It's a beautiful movement. And Africa before it lacked it because, common unit of action was my clan, my region, and then people will come for you. But now it has nothing to do with clan and region. It's my life, my interest, my well-being, my jobs, my education. Why you are taxing me that much? So it's an issue which have an interest across the people, and they are united. And woman is leading, young woman. So it's to watch, and see. It's a good appreciation on that. Yeah.
It's lovely to see. It really is lovely to see. Yeah. But as much as we see it, there's also this side of well-being which DefendDefenders has taken keen interest in. When we take a look at, as much as they step out, they put their best foot forward, there's all these threats that come with it. The well-being of a woman human rights defender.
Exactly. First of all, DefendDefenders have specific programs geared toward women human rights defenders as an activist, particularly youth. Yes. Number one is Safe Sister, whereby elaborately we target young women to reach what we call, and we are hoping that, digital sanity, whereby they stay without any incursions. They avoid any untoward things to their digital life. And they also learn how to manipulate and use digital world into their own movement and their benefits. I myself surprised when I saw walkie-talkie, which no one can stop it, even if you stop the internet. The Gen Zs in Kenya were using through their computers and phones. Walkie-talkie. So walkie-talkie is access direct talk. It doesn't pass through networks and all that.
So it can't be tapped on.
It can't be tapped on. And that mobilization and that knowledge they have, you could imagine that. So we're very happy. Everywhere I go, I see Saved Sister, who have also, because of the grant we give, also trained her colleagues in other spaces, from South Africa to Tunisia to Kenya to everywhere. I'm Safe Sister. Yes. Thank you. you DefendDefenders have trained me. So it gives me great pride, even though I am not the one who trained, but as an organizational leader, I take the pride on that.
Yeah.
Then we have a TALA, the light on, so that they learn documentations. It's very important, and how to use that document to their benefit. And it's again elaborate program targeting young women to remain activism in a safe and sound way. So those measures and other measures. Now we also target our protection grants toward young women. First of all, we educate them that they are human rights defenders, and the challenge now, as I speak to you, there are 4 young ones who are now doing internship, doing scholarly work, away from challenges they were facing in various parts of the continent in our Ubuntu hub cities.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so and they appreciate from West Africa, from East Africa, from North Africa. We place them place of safety for 6 months, for 1 year, to gain knowledge, to reflect, to rest, because it has been grueling weeks of demonstrations, of challenges. Yeah, so that's a venue also we put. Then when it comes to advocacy, we try also to target. As you see, the activism we do, like 16 years, like others. Young women features very prominently. And our trainings, we target young women to come up and big tools for activism. So it's a well-coordinated setup to address the challenge I narrated in the first sentence, which I have had with you.
Yes.
And those are the tools which we place it to elevate that and mitigate those risks, and also make their effectiveness and resilience to continue for the time and all the time they are remaining activists.
Do you have a message for that woman human rights defender who is listening or watching this podcast and has maybe had a training or has been a part of something organized by DefendDefenders, or hopes to be a part of something organized by DefendDefenders? Yeah,
my message is that, first of all, protection of rights anywhere will start with one herself. So stand up first for your own rights, then you can stand up for the rights of others. Today, I invite you, all young women who are out there, the Gen Zs, to come forward and go to our website, respond to jobs available, respond to training opportunities available, and as DefendDefenders, we are going to welcome you in open arms, and we'll be with you, beside you, and in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do you have any other words as your parting shot?
My parting shot is that women's rights are human rights, and you don't need to be a woman to protect the rights of women. You must stand up as a man at the forefront of protecting women's rights. Together, we protect each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Conversations with Defenders, Mr. Hassan Shire.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.